Hey YouTube, it's another perfect day in God's country. I'll be dipped if we didn't get hit with another one of those so-called blizzard things. They go on the news and they tell the whole world that we're up here suffering really bad and it's awful. And I seen one headline that said the Upper Peninsula is paralyzed by winter storm. Well, I don't feel so paralyzed, folks, but I'm gonna ride into town. I'm going to take this old green goblin here into town. As my neighbor tells me, that's 14 miles uphill both ways. 14 miles each way in absolute blizzard conditions. Feels like -8 degrees freedom height. That's a long ways. What are you going to town for, Lucky? Well, I thought I'd get me a cold Pabst Blue Ribbon. He says, well, if you think of it, get two. Anyway, yeah, we're going to light this old green goblin up here today. Temperature says feels like -8 degrees freedom height. Got a little bit of snow on the hood there. Hey, this is all from this morning because I had her out on the road yesterday driving around. Had her all thawed out, so we're gonna thaw her out again. I got this old girl so dialed in. She don't complain about nothing anymore. Doesn't complain about the cold. Listen to that, even with an old battery. I don't know if y'all heard that battery. It barely got enough left in her to crank this old girl up. But yeah, see, nice clear window there. Had her all cleared off last night. Took her for a nice rip. I've been taking her into town every day. But, like I was saying the other day, if you watched my videos from a couple weeks back, I had to feed her the hot sauce to get her to fire off. But she came around on her own. Now she lights right up. And I'm pretty sure, I'm not really sure, but my best guess, like I said, is that that old fuel pressure regulator, after sitting in some good stuff for a while, some proper chemicals for a while, she might have softened up and come back around and the diaphragm's working right. The other possibility would be that maybe I had a leaky injector and somehow you guys know I got this tank full of some pretty good stuff. A little bit of Lucas fuel injection cleaner, a couple extra bottles of octane boost, and a little bit of stable, all the good stuff in here. So she come around on her own. I don't have to use the hot sauce anymore, and that's pretty cool. She just lights right up. Ran into some fella at the gas station last night, and he said, boy, that thing runs smooth. I said, sure does, like brand new. Now you get out and look at the truck and you realize she ain't brand new, but she sure runs like brand new. These old inline sixes, boy, you just can't kill them. Anyway, I wanted to chime in and wish everybody a happy new year. And I'm gonna go scrape a little snow off the windshield here. We had us one of them Tartarian snowstorms last night. I'm gonna scrape this windshield off a little bit and let this old gal thaw out a little. Go ahead and shoot that at the window there. Hey, got big cold Dr. Pepper for the road. Anyway, nothing like getting in the old green goblin and putting her to the test every day. I can't tell you guys how much I enjoy this. I enjoy keeping these old Fords running. This one here, this project's been a little dear to my heart. And of course, this truck comes with a lot of history and a really incredible story. The fella that owned this truck up until he passed away was quite a fascinating story, and that tends to make me fall in love with vehicles like this, and keep them going in the spirit of the fella who had it before. Well, that's weird right there. That's a little bit modified there. I just noticed that, but hey, the old gal's running good. I gotta go clear this windshield off. Then we'll talk some more. Ugh. That's a Tartarian snowstorm right there. Only got one windshield wiper on this old gal too. That's all you need. Boy, I wonder if there's a way I can set this up where there we go. I'll do that. Y'all go on a rip with me. So I've been removing myself as much as I can from gosh darn telephones and internet and all that. Which a lot of y'all may not think is a good idea, but it's a good idea for me. This old crazy ride of life we're on this earth that lies within the waters in this realm that we call home. Thinking this morning about all the lies people are living, eh? There we go, locked down there in four-wheel drive. Green Goblin, let's go! Let's go, let's go! Hopefully y'all got a nice view. I don't know if I got my laptop sitting there on the back of the... You're kind of blocking my backup camera, which is one of those. Turn around and look. Oh, I almost need some sunglasses today. Ain't needed those in a little while. What do I got here? Got some old sunglasses. Those ought to work. Ah, there we go. Life is good. Let's go, let's go! If it ain't another perfect day in God's country, my name ain't Lucky Haskins. There's all the snowmobilers at the bar. Maybe I'll zip around the block and show you all that. Hopefully this thing's still running, eh? I reckon it is. I have no way of knowing, folks. I can't see shit. But it's really pretty out today, so hopefully y'all will enjoy this rip. And I did want to tell you that, yeah, we got hammered with a big old snowstorm. And yeah, we went without power for another 12 hours. Yeah, we got hammered. And, hey, that's just the normal noises around here. Like I said, I saw a, what do you call it? You know, click point or whatever, talking point. Said Upper Peninsula paralyzed by snowstorm. Listen, y'all, I'm a Youper, and let me tell you, it would take an awful lot more than this little storm to paralyze us up here in the UP. December 31st. $2025. Ain't gonna bother me a bit to see this year go. Here comes some snowmobiles. Here's the deal. He's got a snowmobile. Well, he won your seal with his snowmobile. All the snowmobilers at the world famous gay bar. Like I said, it's another perfect day in God's country. And I ain't lying. Let it rip, boys, let it rip. Guys coming out of the gay bar with a nice buzz. 2:30 in the afternoon, fully stoned. Fire up them new 4-strokes and hit the trail. There's old Mike up there plowing out his place. I'm surprised he's still here. He usually heads to Florida this time of year, where he can go down there and drink beer in the sun for 3-4 months. Oh, he's up here drinking beer in the frozen tundra with us. By the way, some of y'all may be on the internet more often than me. Some of y'all may be on the internet less often than me. But when I try to watch any kind of informative video or educational video or just about anything that tickles my fancy, when I find myself staring at the internet, everything is freaking AI. Everything is AI now. They just keep repeating the same narrative. Obviously, people are using AI to make their videos. They're going to make a ton of money until everything equalizes. And obviously, we're not far from Agenda 2030. I would say these next 4 years, we're going to see absolutely amazing stuff, especially people who are awake, people who have known the truth for a while. We're going to see things that are even going to surprise us over the next 4 years. I'd say the next 2 to 3 years going to be crazy. I would say that 2026 is going to bring with it a lot of insanity, because we know these folks want to hit that mark for Agenda 2030. And we know these folks have brilliantly stolen the human mind, brilliantly own and control all systems, all information, all education systems, all legal systems, all banking systems, all manufacturing systems, all corporations, all food production, most of the water supplies. They pretty much already have everything in place. And if the rest of the world does snap out of the trance in the next few years, there's a good chance that it's a little bit late to backpedal and go back. AI has swept the internet so quickly and so fast. Just to give you some perspective on how fast things are getting ready to move. Like nothing we've ever seen. They are going to implement huge changes over the next 3 to 4 years. And we will not recognize this world anymore by 2030. And you can remember old Lucky telling you that, driving down the ice road here. We will not recognize this world by 2030. We are going to go through major changes. And my honest opinion is there's no going back at this point. Even with millions and millions of people being awake, there's seemingly very little that can be done. The masses are fed propaganda right in front of us. We tell them it's fake. We tell them it's propaganda. They'd rather argue in favor of their own oppressors than think for themselves at this point on the last day of 2025. Most of humanity does not want to open their eyes. They do not want to think for themselves. They do not want to readdress something that they overlooked throughout their life, which was logic and reason. To readdress something they overlooked throughout their life, which was cross-checking and verifying what they were told to believe. We're basically the survivors of two generations that asked no questions and required no verification of anything they were told. And these, of course, are the same people that use propaganda buzzwords like conspiracy theorists to try to make fun of people that have educated themselves so they can continue to live with their head up their anus and never ask the important questions, never be forced to verify their beliefs, never cross-check what they are told, and continue to get their education from the television and, in fact, the internet, which, again, an interesting topic. When people like to say, well, you got your education from a YouTube video. There's a big old wreck spot I just went by where someone put their truck in the ditch. You get a lot of that on days like today. I don't know if y'all can see that. Might be able to pause that or go back, but if you look to the left where I just passed, big old wreckage in the snow there. And then you can see where a couple of snowmobilers stopped to help. The snow tells a lot up here. About 9 years ago, I got pulled over on a snowmobile. It was September of 2017. Late September, we got dumped on. And I had a snowmobile sitting in the backyard. It was running good, ready to rip. We absolutely got pummeled and got like 1.5 feet of fresh snow overnight. And I got on my Polaris Triple. That was from the era where they were making basically muscle sleds. Just like we have a muscle car era, there was a muscle sled era. They don't really make them anymore because a lot of guys got killed on them sleds. But I had me one of them Polaris Triples, super fast sled, and took it out for a rip, and I took it all the way to the town of Mohawk to get a pack of Marlboros. And I was riding right down the center of the road because I was making fresh tracks. No one was on the road yet. So I was rolling in fresh powder, and I got about a 14-mile drive down a road covered with fresh powder. It's a snowmobiler's dream. So I'm doing 100, 110 on my Polaris, all tucked in, riding right down the crown of the road. So if I have a wreck or screw up, I got plenty of room in both directions to try to save it. Because when you're going 100 miles an hour on a snowmobile, there's no room for error. They're very volatile machines. A couple wrong bumps, something like that, and you're gone. That's why most guys that run them 100 miles an hour do it out on the lake. Well, there's nothing to hit. So when you're doing 100 miles an hour down a road on a snowmobile, you want to use the middle of the road so you got lots of room between you and those trees to make some adjustments or to bail, one or the other. So, to make a long story longer, I drive all the way to Mohawk. I don't pass a single car. So I have an absolute blast of a time opening that sled up and just ripping all the way to Mohawk. I got there in no time doing 100 miles an hour. Get my cigarettes, get on the snowmobile, and I'm ripping on the way back. I'm about halfway home, and I see headlights coming at me, so I slow way down and I pull off and start running on the side of the road next to the ditch, like you're supposed to on a snowmobile. And I'll be dipped if it wasn't the Keweenaw County Sheriff coming the other way. And he turns on his little blue light, rolls his window down, so I come to a stop. Of course, I'm wearing a helmet, so I just flip up my visor. And of course, I'm unregistered, got no trail stickers, got no registration on my snowmobile, none of that stuff that they expect the regular men to do. Lucky that stuff doesn't apply to me. Not sure why, it just doesn't. Because I said so. Freedom. Free human beings require no master. I'll just leave it at that. But so I got no paperwork or nothing, even on my snowmobile card. So I'm like, oh man, first ride of the year, and I'm getting busted by the sheriff. And he says, you know, we have a law in Keweenaw County that says you have to ride on the shoulder of the road. And I, of course, say, well, I am, sir. And he says, you left the 14-mile long trail. And I started laughing. I said, oh, yeah. Yeah, I did, didn't I? I forgot about that. I always remember when you're driving in the snow, you're leaving a trail. You don't get the chance to lie too much. Oh, what a beautiful day. Look at that, the sun. We got some sunshine, folks. Oh, be darned. Well, I got somebody riding on my tail here. And it's weird because I know it's a local because he's got his plow on. Local protocol. You know, that's not Uper protocol to ride somebody's butt. Although he does have a plow on, so I should use a little Uber etiquette myself and assume that he's trying to make a couple of bucks. So when I get out of these S-curves here, which is right by the Nabakadisi Kiwi Wigwam, my camp right here, off to our right. Once this road straightens out, I'll slow down a little and get over just a little and let him know. And he can get on about his busy day. But typically, it's not Uper protocol to ride people's butts. And the standard move that I make if someone's riding my butt is I slow down until they get the message. Most of us who live up here, we live up here because nobody else lives up here. We like our privacy, we don't like crowds, and we enjoy driving down these old country roads all by ourselves. And there's plenty of room up here for all of us. When I'm on a road like this driving, there's absolutely no reason why I should have to share my space with someone else. So you know, 95% of the time, if somebody tries to share my space with me, going down a road like this, they ain't from around here. They're a tourist. Tourists actually get more comfortable when they're around another person. A lot of tourists get real nervous when they're out in the middle of nowhere. They feel isolated. Take away their phones, take away the crowd, they're scared to death. So they will ride your ass for an hour and a half because they feel safe because they're near you. They figure you must know what the hell to do. Right. No, we're just crazy. We don't have this all figured out. We're just nuts. just nuts. But anyway, I thought y'all might enjoy the scenery here today. You can always speed it up and watch it on super fast. And listen to Lucky talk like Mickey Mouse. That'd probably be kind of cool. As you notice, I'm just cruising. I'm going to speculate I'm doing about 30 to 35 right now. Probably closer to 30. I don't know if you guys can see the gauges on this truck, but they sure are beautiful. Because the work I've done is pretty much the important stuff. If you can see over here, that's my charging whirler there. Alternator, she rating a good 14.5 volts. Getting there, up there close to 15. She rocking in free world. That means I got nice bright lights on this thing. Excellent high beams. All that kind of stuff. Good strong blower motor. We got good solid voltage. Because I put a new alternator on her about 4 years ago. Still getting her done. Over here you got the oil pressure, which is incredible. If you can see that. She's well above 50%, which typically, usually if you're sitting at 50%, you're doing all right. This thing has got an absolute ton of miles. I really don't know how many miles, folks, but I guarantee it had 300,000 miles on it when I bought it. In very early 2020. It might have been December 2019 when I first bought this. So, 6 years now, ish. Look at that oil pressure. Fantastic. Look at the temperature gauge. Well below 50%. At about 35% of the gauge. Right there at perfection. Now, I've never done anything with the radiator on this thing. Never flushed it. In fact, I can't remember the last time I even opened it. I am due to check the fluids on this thing. In fact, back when it had crank no start, I seem to remember the brake fluid being a little low. I probably ought to check on that. About time to check the transmission fluid. Maybe even check on the oil. And, pop the old radiator cap and see what's going on under there. So, this old green Goblin is just a lot of fun to cruise around in. And, so once again, I'll address the fellow that said, what a waste of time that truck is. Are you sure the frame's okay? Or the frame ain't rusted? Yep. I am sure the frame's rusted, sure, but no, this frame's good and solid. And when you stand back and look at this truck, she's actually still very stout as well. The fellow that had this truck before me, he wasn't too cosmetically oriented. He didn't give a shit what his truck looked like, and he never washed it clearly. But he maintained it pretty well. He seemed to always take care of the brakes and the belts and the hoses and all the important stuff. And so overall, this is a pretty gosh darn good, solid truck. Especially for what I use it for. Been a pretty winter so far. Excuse me. It's been a real pretty winter so far because the snow keeps sticking to the trees. I can't say that we've had more snow than normal. In fact, most of December we didn't have any snow. So we're probably sitting a little less than normal as far as the amount of snowfall, which I believe we average about 380 inches a year of fresh powder. I'd say we got close to a foot of fresh powder last night. Maybe 10 inches, quite a bit. And it was definitely powder, beautiful powder. It'd be a great day for snowmobiling today, or ripping down Mount Bohemia. For all you snowboarders or skiers, if you've never heard of Mount Bohemia, look it up. That's about 25 minutes north of my house. And just an absolutely epic ski mountain. Snowboarders come from all over the place to go there. There's really nothing, no place like it in the world that I'm aware of. Very unique place, Mount Bohemia. Very cool place, not far from me. And I bet the snowboarders are shredding right now with that fresh powder we got last night. I know they're shredding right now. Not a doubt in my mind. Yeah, this road here is Yay Lake Linden Road. This will be ice until April, mid-April. We won't see the blacktop again. Believe it or not, this is a blacktop road, but we won't see the blacktop until mid-April, and unless we get some kind of fluke weather. But hey, we love it. It's a beautiful time of year. And it's still early in the year. I'm not sick of it yet. Hey, here's another OBS Ford, probably plowing snow. Boy, that's a nice clean truck right there. Boy, that's nice. I can't believe that guy's plowing snow with that. Ah, man. That was one of the nicest OBS Fords I've seen in a long time. That's a beautiful truck right there, man. Is that like a 1990 maybe? Wow. He's plowing snow with it. Pretty smart. Come out, plow your driveway, and put that sucker back in the garage. That truck's obviously kept in the garage. I hope y'all caught a glimpse of that. Boy, that was a beauty. 35-year-old Ford truck clearing that guy's driveway. That thing was shining like new. Duly noted. I know where that guy lives. Duly noted. He's got a killer truck. He might sell it someday. Maybe he'll trade it for a boat. Anyway, that one just got filed in the old 36-track Lucky Haskins OBS Ford truck databank under 88 to 92, somewhere in there. I couldn't get a good look at the front end, so I don't know if it was a brick nose or not. That brick nose would be like 88, 89. pretty sure it wasn't a bullnose, which is 80 to 86. Not personal favorites. It could have been, but I don't think so. Look like a 90s variety. I'm still talking about that truck. I can't believe I've never seen it. That tells me that truck never leaves that guy's driveway, because I ain't never seen him cruising around in the summer in that thing, ever. I guarantee he keeps it inside, keeps it clean as a whistle, and uses it to plow his driveway in the winter, which is very smart. Keep that truck moving, keep all the parts working, because there ain't no salt. A lot of people confuse that when they hear, oh, it was a plow truck. They instantly think the transmission's going to be tore up and the truck's going to be a rust bucket from salt. A lot of times both of those can be true. You really got to look at the history of it. A lot of guys, years and years ago, had a Ford truck. Notice I'm being Ford specific. Because if it was a Chevy, they probably got rid of it when the transmission went. But a lot of guys had those old OBS Ford trucks. And when the truck started changing body styles, started turning into commuter vehicles, and they were ready for their next Ford truck, instead of trading the one in that might have had 80,000 miles on it, a lot of them fellas said, man, that truck is so cool, I'm going to keep it. I'm not trading it in. And they go out and they buy their new Ford truck, and they turn their old Ford truck into a plow truck. And they love it so much they keep it inside year round. And they wash it all the time and keep it clean. And when winter comes, the truck gets fired up. They treat it really nice. Got the old premium gas in her, ethanol free, because she sits, keep it stable in there. Fire her up, let her warm up for 15, 20 minutes. She likes that a lot. Then you just run it up and down the driveway for about 45 minutes. Might only take 20 minutes to plow the driveway, if that. But if you got a truck like that, you take your time. You move a whole bunch of snow that you really don't need to move. Sit in the nice warm cab in your cool old Ford truck. Enjoy the truck. Have a Marlboro, maybe a cold beer. And then you're the guy that your yard and your driveway is meticulously plowed all winter long to absolute perfection. And your old Ford truck will stay mint for the next 40 years. As long as you keep it clean and keep it in the garage. Because it's never going to see salt again. A lot of people don't think that way when they think about plow trucks. But I do. My 1986 Ford F-250. That's a bullnose. 4-wheel drive with the 302 V8, fuel injected. That truck's only got 114,000 miles on it. And for the year, it does not have a lot of rust. It has plenty of rust. It has the typical Ford dip cup and all that stuff. But for the year, it's not a rust bucket. Body panels are in good shape. Frame is in excellent shape. And that is because it's been some guy's plow truck at his house for probably 15 to 20 years. I was able to buy it for $600 with the plow. I've been plowing with it for almost 6 years. I got a little issue with it at the moment, but I'm not going to talk about that because that'll bum me out. A little electrical issue, yeah. For all you Chevy guys, you probably know what I'm going to say. having a little bit of issues with the ignition system on the old 86 plow truck this winter. First time she's given me any major headaches. But I find myself with no spark all of a sudden, so kind of waiting on some better weather to fix that. Is what it is. Probably blew the ICM, which is pretty common on those. Unfortunately, in 1986, the ignition control module is on the distributor, so you have to loosen the distributor and lift it up a little to change that ICM. And I don't really want to do that. Throw my timing off. Might mess up my timing doing that. Anyway, the old Green Goblin, she's doing well here. This is the town of Lake Linden. If you look off to the left here, you'll see a Tartarian building here. And of course, it is now a Catholic church, of course. But right behind it, of course, is a body of water that would appear to be man-made that connects to the canal that flows through Houghton. We are on an island here. So, body of water back there, just as we know with most of these old what are now called the Catholic churches. Likely they were using the underground water as electrical storage or simply maintaining the living waters. If you look up here on the left, you'll see another Tartarian era building, and that is the town hall, or no, that's the Lake Linden Police Station. That's what that is. Again, no surprise for those of you who do your own autodidactic research into these old world buildings that we obviously didn't build. By the way, I was talking about AI a little bit earlier, and I pretty much am conclusive in my thinking now that all of the script has been written by AI. AI has been writing all of this. I've spent a large chunks of time throughout my life examining the amount of information that is fed to the masses every day. And I've often thought about that. Is there like a building somewhere full of people sitting down writing this? Because we know it's not journalists. Okay, we know the narrative now. We know the script. We know how it works. We know how the blinded masses believe journalists are bringing them these stories. We know none of that's true, folks. There's the occasional journalist, of course, the small-time garbage, telling you about the fire in your local town or the storm that's going to hit you this week, okay? Truth with lies. We know the bulk of the information is not coming from journalists. It's coming from the CIA. It's coming from the Ministry of Information. We know this. We know this stuff, folks. It looks like we lost our table there. Hey, that kind of worked, though. But I'm wheeling up to the beer store here, and gonna have to let y'all go. But I just wanted to mention that it has become very clear that everything has been written by AI. The stories were written by AI. I've always told you guys that there's never going to be anybody to hold accountable. Nobody's name is ever going to be attached to any of the falsities. There's never going to be a name. It's always unknown source, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to guess that most of my listeners, maybe there's some new listeners, most of y'all know by now that if there's a character on your television or even written about, it's not a real individual, and they're not in charge of anything, okay? And yes, this goes for your fake presidents, your fake congressmen, all of these fake federal agents. None of them are in charge of anything. You are never going to get a name and a face to any of the people who are in charge. but I'm starting to examine now that I know I know unequivocally that everything's been written by AI, at least this script that they started in the late 1800s, or perhaps this script was actually released in 1902, when the real proverbial hit the fan, or the proverbial crap hitting the fan began, and was implemented. We know that things like the globe Earth and the infinite universe, and black holes and dark matter, and nuclear fusion, splitting atoms, germ theory, virus theory. We know that all this scientific lies and horseshit, geology, archaeology, we know all of these stolen sciences were non-existent prior to then, at least not in the same manner. We know all of that horseshit and them fabricated stories began right around 1902. I'm well aware that the blinded masses want to go, no, Lucky, you're so dumb. The ancient Greeks, the Romans knew, the Greeks knew. None of them people existed, folks. It's all fabricated. All of it made up, all began being taught to this current population after the 1900s. None of this is arguable anymore. I do apologize to the blinded masses that insist on keeping your butts up your asses. But listen, everything you were told was a lie. You're going to have to come around. You're going to have to deal with it. I reckon you don't have to deal with it. But I do. One of the odd things is going to be how these people who still subscribe to the false narratives and the faulty science fiction and everything that goes with the fabricated narratives and the fake stories and the fabricated science and all of the illusions, the known 6 continents that we live on, lies. I do wonder how the people that believe all of those stories, the Big Bang, our historical narrative, all of it, how are they going to cope with reality over the next 4 years as their freedoms are completely removed from them? I reckon they're going to be the ones that help remove their own freedoms and lead us into the world of slavery, which will seemingly have no end in sight. It will take another complete and total collapse of civilization to ever get humans out from under the tight-knit slavery system that has been built and is being implemented right before our eyes as we speak. Well, enough doom and gloom. Happy 2026, everybody. I hope everybody has a wonderful new year. I'm going to go get some beer and maybe go home and have one. Ask yourself, who can I help today? And most importantly, go out there and do it. Have a great 2026, everybody. Cheers.